Top Gear is 21 years old. We've grown up, we've matured, we've come of age. Or have we?
Welcome to Top Gear once again.
Put out the cat and lock away your grandma. You're about to experience Top Gear at full pelt as we cram 21 years into 29 minutes. Yes, the show for Motor Maniacs is 21. Well, actually, it's 22, because for the first 12 months, Top Gear was a regional programme reserved for the people of Birmingham. And its very first presenter back then was a newsreader making the long haul from Television Centre in London up the M6 to Pebble Mill. I'm a great believer in driving on mirrors. I've got 3 mirrors in this car. I've got a mirror over there on the left-hand wing, central mirror, the reversing mirror, and again a mirror here on the right-hand wing, which means that I really do have 365 degrees vision. Appropriately enough for a car programme, Top Gear has seen many changes in direction, and the presenters have always had their views of where it should be going.
It was a general programme, I think, far more general than it is now, in that it had a lot more to interest people who were interested in motoring, rather than people who, who kind of want, toys for the boys and speed machines.
You have to open that door to reach in and open the back. It's logical, really, isn't it?
I was a bit of a contrast to Angela Rippon, who I got on with really well, but had a slightly schoolmarmy approach to her presentation, and maybe I was seen as a bit of a wild card because I had longer hair. I mean, recently, one of my daughters saw a clip of something I was doing in the late 70s and rushed in and said, "Mum, come quickly, there's a girl on the telly who looks like Dad."
I remember seeing the programme with Noel, and it seemed to have a kind of very loose journalistic feel to it. It was all very much vroom vroom school of motoring journalism. I mean, I can drive this red one faster than you, and about the shape and colour of cars so much. I mean, I found that is not the sort of journalism I'm interested in, so it wasn't one of my favourite programmes, I must admit.
My earliest recollections of Top Gear was of this rather technical programme where you had people who would put their arm on their legs up on a wheel like this and be expansive about bits of cars.
This little car here really completes the new Lancia family.
I used to put my foot up on the bumper of the car. I used to remember what I was talking about, just to break up the formal line, make it more informal.
And they'd walk around with maybe a carburettor or a fuel injection pump in their hands, and it was an absolute cure for insomnia.
I remember watching, I think it was Sue Baker, driving an M635 BMW in the south of France. And everything was perfect. And she kept going on about how the trip computer was too far away.
And I'd like to see that moved up nearer to the other instruments.
I was thinking, well, yeah, I suppose if you look, it might just be too far away, but it's a 286 horsepower car and it's the south of France, just enjoy it.
It's all very easy being wise after the event, but how did they all make their mark when they first stepped in front of the camera?
This year, 1981, the pundits expect around 1.4 million cars to be sold. The point is, when you turn up to the car showroom with your hard-earned cash in your fist and you drive off in your shiny new pride and joy, would it have crossed your mind that the car could have spent many months standing round in conditions like this? Well, I was quite angry, and it's always easy to be, relatively good in doing a report if you're angry about something. And I think we physically changed the way the industry regarded their new car stocks.
Chris Goffey broke his leg in an accident and he was supposed to drive this Formula First racing car.
Top Gear said, well, carry on, do the series, but we won't show your plaster cast. You won't show...
So the item was actually Chris standing on a plastered leg saying, here's the Formula First, and we've got our pet racing driver, Tiffany Dell. And I just drove the car and spoke as I drove round, but never took my helmet off for the entire item.
Clearways, turn, oversteer in and power on. And that was almost exactly as I'd like to do clearways in this sort of car.
That was dreadful. I'm surprised they still kept me on.
I'm as nervous as I am excited, which I think
can't be too bad. I was racing, which was great, in a Mark II Golf in the Slick 50 Championship down at Brands Hatch. So not only did I race, but I also had to do in-car commentary whilst racing.
Come on, Mick. Come on, babe. Go, go. Yes, she's on the grass. OK, we've done it. Come on.
And I'm sure there are quite a lot of cuts on the floor that didn't make it in.
I was really lucky because my very first item was actually a Ferrari, which was quite fantastic. I remember it being incredibly cold. That's an abiding memory of Top Gear. You're always incredibly cold. But the experience of driving a Ferrari, I guess it's rather like your first real kiss, you know, it's something you never really forget. I have to say, it's only afterwards it struck me that if I put the thing around a lamppost, it would have been a rather quick end to a career, I suppose.
Well, the original reason they wanted me on Top Gear was to do kind of consumery investigative stuff. But Watchdog were really doing that better. So they wanted somebody to be naked more often. My first piece I was in a sauna, then I went to do limousines, and I was naked in the back of the jacuzzi. And then the full big frontal, which was the nude classic car show, which was so funny because everybody, even the film crew, had to be naked for that.
I've got you
Morning.
Under my skin.
It was the first time I've been thinner than the rest of the people there, because you know what Americans are like. And I thought that was going to be great for my career, but now I star in porn films, which is what's paid for my car here.
Despite its Brummie roots, the series always spoke with a distinctly southern accent. It couldn't last.
And in 1993, as in 1923, BMW continued to offer an air-cooled, horizontally opposed, shaft-driven motorcycle. And this is it.
I thought, I'm on the BBC, so I best speak proper. And I do a telephone voice all the way through the item. I think a lot of people would be surprised, but I kind of stand next to this bike and go, hello, today a motorcycle test, the new BMW. And it's just really weird. I don't know what on earth I was thinking.
Such a prat. I should have stood like this, talking in a very monotone, frightened way about this Bentley with an idiotic tie on and a stupid blazer because I was trying to look smart.
It's been converted into what's called a two-door coupe, i.e. it has one long door on either side. And that means there's pretty substantial alterations between here and here.
The most difficult thing is your hands. Suddenly they become huge marrows and you have no idea what to do with them. It's this, Christ, look at this, where do I put these? Here, here. You've no idea what to do with your hands.
I've got a crooked smile. I wouldn't disagree with that.
My head's always, I've got a twitch on all the time, and I never know what to do with my hands.
The cat became very famous. That's because my hair started falling out, but don't tell anyone.
I walk funny, and it has been pointed out.
I don't really know if people have said anything to me. Apart from Nigel Havers said I had a nice arse. You can't use that.
And sometimes things got even better than that.
Well, it's not actually a car. It is a Jaguar. But it was when I went up in the Jaguar jet plane. But we were racing against Tiff in an Aston Martin. And it was just the most amazing, magical experience I've ever had.
OK, time to go, go, go!
The Aston's pulling away.
No, no, it's getting away from me. No!
120. 130.
Easy pudding and...
See ya, sucker! Eat my jet
But one of the most fun things that I did was driving on one of the skid pans. It was a terrific experience learning how to cope with a car in a skid, which probably saved my life on a later occasion.
Because if I actually found myself in that situation, I was on the road in a skid, would I react in that way?
I hope that you will hear my voice saying off gas, if nothing else.
I got so cocky. I was taking this thing around and actually skidding it and finishing absolutely right on the spot because we just had so much, and I got really quite good at doing it.
And that was me making a fool of myself on the skid pan.
The best Top Gear experience, there's no question for me, was they had this mad idea to train me as a racing driver. Now, I'm the last person to be a good racing driver, so it was a terrible decision in some ways, but it was absolutely fantastic, because when would I have the opportunity to do that?
Down we go.
Oh, no! The feeling of adrenaline, the feeling of being part of something like that, I shall never forget it as long as I live. And I guess that really takes me into, in a sense, the worst experience on Top Gear, because, of course, sadly, I failed to qualify. And I cannot tell you the disappointment, the feeling of letting everybody down, Ford, who'd given me the Fiesta to do, the team, Top Gear. It was just a complete unmitigated disaster.
Worst Top Gear moment, that's easy. It was an item that we did called Siamese banger racing, where you race a banger car, but you're chained together with another banger racer. I went with Jeremy, he was like the co-driver, he was in the other car, and we said, look lads, we're a bit feeble and a bit television, we're not going to get it right, so can you leave us alone for like 4 laps before you start hitting us and destroying us? And laps must have meant seconds to them, because by the time we got to the first corner, we were just smashed to pieces.
I have no steering at all now.